In this question, you've been asked to find area 1, this shaded region, two different ways. With vertical rectangles, so we'll look at that first. If we were going to do vertical rectangles, the height would go from y equals square root of x to y equals 0. For the first portion, but then over here in green, our height will be different. It will be from the upper curve to the lower curve, same upper curve, but the lower curve is no longer 0. The lower curve is now y equals x minus 6. So we're going to have two different integrals. The integral from 0 to where the heights change, 6 square root of x minus 0, because this really is y equals 0. Of course, we don't need it, but just to be thinking about it always as an upper minus a lower will give me a height, plus the next section has the same upper curve. So the height will be, again, upper minus lower. This time the upper is square root of x, and the lower is x minus 6. We need to put that in parentheses. And our limits are, this time we start at 6, and we end where these meet at x equals 9. So as we think about finding the antiderivative of square root of x, that's really x to the 1/2. So we're going to add 1 to that. 1/2 plus 1 as 2 over 2 gives us x to the 3 over 2. We'll divide by 3/2, which is the same as multiplying by 2/3. That's our antiderivative. We want that evaluated from our lower limit of 0 to our upper limit of 6. Then we're going to add to that the antiderivative of that same thing, square root of x. Well, that's still 2 over 3 x to the 3/2 minus x plus 6 when we distribute the negative in to the minus 6. So this will be negative x squared over 2 plus 6x. This antiderivative is evaluated from 6 to 9. So as I think about simplifying this mess, one thing I've noticed is this 2/3 times the square root of 6 cubed, and this negative 2/3 times the square root of 6 cubed, those are going to cancel out. So I'm not going to bother trying to simplify or anything. Square root of 9 is 3, and that should be a cube there. 3 cubed will be 27. Divided by 3 is 9, and 9 times 2 is 18. So this whole thing becomes 18. We're going to leave 81 over 2, and 6 times 9 is 54. So we have minus a negative 36 over 2, so that's really plus 36 over 2. Then we have minus 36. So now we'll combine some like terms. 18 and 54 minus 36 is 36. And negative 81 over 2 and positive 36 over 2 is 45 over 2. So if we get a common denominator of 2, we're going to have 72 minus 45 all over 2. That's 27 over 2. That is our area finding with two sets of vertical rectangles. Now we're going to turn around and do it horizontally. So as we think about horizontal rectangles, we're only going to have one, because it doesn't matter where we draw these rectangles. We're always going to go from an x-coordinate on the right over here to an x-coordinate on the left. Now keep in mind this upper curve is y equals square root of x, and that's really my left x, and this is y equals x on the right minus 6. So I'm going to take each of these equations and solve them for x. So we have x on the right equals y plus 6. I added 6 to both sides. And this other one we have y equals square root of x on the left. We'll square both sides. X on the left equals y squared. So now as we think about this area, it will be the base of this rectangle, which is x on the right minus x on the left, times the height, which is very, very thin. It's measured in the y direction, dy. And we are going to start at the very bottom, 0, and end at the very top, 3. So those will be our limits of integration. So now we just have to plug in integral from 0 to 3. We said x on the right was y plus 6 minus x on the left, we said that was y squared dy. Now we'll find some antiderivatives. Antiderivative of y is y squared over 2 plus 6y minus y cubed over 3. And we're going to evaluate this from 0 to 3. So Lalo asked us in class, hey, like when would it ever be better to do things horizontally? Well, now that we're trying to do it by hand, it actually looks like it might be a lot simpler this way. 3 squared over 2 plus 6 times 3 minus 3 cubed over 3 minus, when we plug 0 in for all these, we just get 0. So here's another reason, Lalo. 3 squared is 9 over 2 plus 6 times 3 is 18 minus 3 cubed is 27 over 3, that's minus 9. So we're really looking at 18 minus 9 is 9 plus 9 over 2. Find a common denominator. 2 times 9, 18 plus 9 over 2, or 27 over 2. That was the same answer we had before. So we've seen that we get the same answer both ways, but boy, this time it sure did seem easier to look at things horizontally with one integral versus vertically with 2.